Hi, everyone. I'm Niels Bantilan. I'm heading up the UnionML effort in the Union AI team. Just to give you a quick elevator pitch for UnionML, just in case you're not familiar with it and you just found yourself here. It's a framework built on top of Flyte, and it's our attempt at reducing the boilerplate and complexity of, in particular, building and deploying machine learning applications. So you may all know Flyte. It's a great execution graph orchestrator pipeline tool that can be used for machine learning, but it can be used for any arbitrary computational problem. So with UnionML, we're really trying to build in certain assumptions about how you're creating models and in a kind of industry standard way. So that's a quick thing. Since this is the first open source planning meeting for UnionML, I did want to just give everyone some context here. So the plan for this meeting is that it's open to the public, and this is literally going to be like kind of a work meeting that we have internally, right? But we're going to go through the roadmap, reprioritize things as they come up. We do have our own sort of like top-down roadmap that we've created. That's not to discourage anyone from having strong opinions about where we should go, features you want to add sooner rather than later. So that's the purpose of this meeting. It's going to happen every 2 weeks. You can subscribe. Let's see. Maybe I can start sharing my screen now. Yeah, you can find this kind of button here, this badge, and if you find it, you can add this event to your calendar. And yeah, again, since this is the first time, I wanted to just maybe go around and have everyone introduce themselves, just name sort of what your primary thing is, what you do professionally, and why you joined today. So I'll start. I guess I already introduced myself. Something that I guess UnionML is like the tool I wanted to build because yeah, it's sort of like a distillation of all the stuff that I've had to build myself in various different capacities in the past. And yeah, I'm excited to use it myself for my own little side projects. So an example of a little thing that I've been working on in my free time is music generator using WaveNet. So the project was a little more ambitious before, but now I'm trying to get like hip hop beats, different genres of music, and just train a model to generate that music, maybe conditional on the genre. So I've just been using PyTorch, and I'm hoping to try out and really like test out UnionML with using that project. Maybe Eduardo, do you want to go?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Eduardo. I also work on eUnion. I'm a software engineer there, and my primary interest in UnionML really is trying to like bridge the gap between the core problems in infrastructure related to machine learning applications or like around that area, and the actual like usability of like how do you structure machine learning applications, like what is this, like the fact that we don't have a textbook solution for this kind of thing really attracts me to this problem, because I can foresee like how UnionML can become such a standard. But yeah, that's me.
Cool. Maybe at the end of the introduction, you pick the next person.
Cool. I don't know, Zev. We don't know each other, but
Sure. Yeah, that's fine, Eduardo. We know each other now. Yeah, I'm Zev Eisert. I'm a software engineer. I work at Revela Systems. We're a startup ourselves. I ran into Niels's talk introducing Union at MLOps World. I really like the way the project is set up. Revela is building a monitoring API that sort of has the same sort of simple, what is the basic solution of how monitoring of ML models should work. And Niels reached out, or we reached out sort of at the same time and said, hey, you know what, it'd be pretty cool if we could work together and put, you know, a simple monitoring service at the end of this too. So happy to hang out here and brainstorm and put some ideas into the pipe. So yeah, that's me. I will hand it right over to Mike so you can hear enough about Revela right at the same time because he's with me.
Thanks, Ev. Hey guys, nice to meet you all and some familiar faces on here. So yeah, just basically what Zev said. I'm less on the technical side. I'm more on the kind of business development, kind of ecosystem side. So I'm just really interested in learning about the different players and how the different MLOps tools can work together and kind of provide a better ultimate end solution for, you know, the users and the, you know, ML engineers and data scientists out there. So keen to just learn more and lean on Zev for kind of the more technical side of things. So that's me. Let's do Milan.
Yep. Hey, good morning, fellas. I'm Milan. I'm in consulting, more technical, like data science, ML consulting. And so when I see new tools on the market, I always want to just listen in a little bit more or get to understand, you know, how we could potentially serve up different solutions to clients or what's the best way. Because a lot of times clients like, well, what's the easy way to do this? What's a real way to do this? Or we have to use our enterprise subscription because we're a Microsoft customer or something, right? So I just want to understand the tools that are out there and expand our tool shed a little bit. And you never meet not great people at like a ML event like this, right? It's always you meet the superstars, right?
Awesome, thanks, Milan. Yeah, if you can pick the next person, David.
Yep. Yeah, hey, Eric Liu, come on down.
Hello, hi. So I'm Eric. So I'm in product management, and machine learning tool chains is a new thing for me. So I'm doing some of my research. I found Flyte, and then I found UnionML. I'm trying to figure out what's the difference. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully that'll become clear.
Yeah, I'll pick the next one is Ye Tong.
Oh, hey, that's me, I think. Hi, I'm at Union. I'm here mostly to see how open source planning meetings can be run because we want to do it on the Flyte project as well. So look forward to that, hopefully being open by the end of this quarter. We have some planning to do, hopefully sooner, but we'll see. Sugata?
Sugata, are you there? Oh,
Hey. Can you see me? Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Shigato. Hello, folks. I'm a graduate student. I'm working in my physics PhD, almost about to finish at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. It was solely physics. There was no deep learning or ML anywhere, but the problem required so. So once I learned all of that and made the solution, I was reading more about how do you implement this to the real world, because if you want a solution from start to finish, so people could just go and use it, the impact cannot be felt without the infrastructure of ML ops. And so I started looking at different ML frameworks, and that's when luckily I came across this post. I believe it was from Niels. And so then I started looking at UnionML, and it seemed quite interesting. And then I started working on that. And then thank you for the contributor of the month. So yeah, so I'm here to learn more and see how else or how better I can use UnionML for ML ops. That's it. Thank you. Oh yeah, so who's next?
I think, yeah, let's just go with Smriti. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Hi, yeah. So I'm a part of Union AI. I'm a programmer writer there. I was a machine learning engineer before. I'm just here to understand more about UnionML and see what I can do with it. And see how open source meetings work, of course. Yeah. Thank you. I pick Sandra.
Hey everyone, I'm Sandra. I'm also with Union. I'm the marketing manager right now. So I'm here to make sure the recording goes smoothly. I'll be editing the recording and posting it on the YouTube channel for Union. Keep an eye out for that. And I'll be doing the social media marketing. So yeah, good to have everybody here. Is there anybody left?
Samita, why don't you go?
Samita, yeah.
Yep, sure. Hey everyone, my name is Samhita. I'm a software engineer and technical evangelist at Union AI. So I have always wanted to build machine learning models and dive deep into the concepts. So yeah, I'm here. I'm looking forward to learning and contributing. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I think someone joined and then left. So, we'll just move on now unless he joins a little later. Okay, cool. So great, let's dive in. Start sharing my screen.
Niels, I think I'm missing one person. Sorry, you only have your, what I assume is your alias, go data.
Oh, yes. Yep. You want to go Godet? I'm not sure what the name is. You're on mute right now.
Oh, okay. So it's actually Steve George Odette. The SGs are my initials. Otherwise, thanks. I'm a molecular biologist. Stump upon Flyte and stump upon Niels' work in my first introduction to Flyte. I think that was about 2 weeks or so ago. So I'm much more interested in prediction of what we call transcription factors in biology. But currently, I write workflows for bioinformatics. But I would be much more interested to see how these impact my career in the few minutes or so. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it seems like we have a pretty diverse backgrounds here. It's always cool to see. Yeah, so let me just start right here, just with this diagram. So, I'm going to work on a little bit clearer of a diagram that shows the entire picture, but this is really it. Like the whole point of UnionML is it's designed in such a way that you have these functions that you implement on the left side here, which are called methods here. And the whole job of UnionML is it will combine all those functions in ways that make sense to practitioners using Flyte. And so under the hood, everything is Flyte workflows and Flyte tasks. But these functions that are user defined, they handle the variability, the richness of all machine learning, at least in this case, right now, supervised learning applications. So there's a lot of different stuff that people can create, but the way that you put them together should be fairly standard at this point. I think we've come to various industry standards of how do you put these pieces together. And on the right side are microservices that you can deploy in various different contexts. So today, the training microservice exists as a Flyte workflow that you deploy to a Flyte backend. Batch prediction also goes in a Flyte backend. Online prediction happens in a fast API app or AWS Lambda service. And the dots represent, all the different things that we could eventually do. The thing that is not really pictured here is things that Zev and Mike are working on, things like model monitoring, data monitoring. These are things that will kind of just be interleaved throughout these various pieces when it makes sense, right? So when you have an online prediction service, you could imagine having some kind of integration and with the Revella, the thing they're working on, and other such tools that are up and coming in the ecosystem. But the whole point of UnionML is that it is this kind of middle layer that, as I said earlier, handles the boilerplate and complexity of how do you put these things together. So just to give you sort of a very long-term view of this project, this is the long-term roadmap that I described here in this blog. And these are kind of 6 main buckets. I'm sure there are more, there's stuff that I'm missing here, but these are the six main buckets that for the foreseeable future we'll be really doubling down on. So from experiment tracking, data annotation, model tuning, feature engineering, feature serving, model serving, and data quality and monitoring. So that's the long-term view. I'm actually curious at this point if anyone has any thoughts here already that they want to share. If not, I can go into the weeds. Okay, awesome. So this is our top-down. This is kind of the top-down view of the milestone we've set for ourselves. The first 2 the bug fix like patch releases here are more kind of internal. You can hop into various issues that are in here, but basically these milestone releases are for just cleaning up the stuff that we've built so far. So there's, coming up against the launch, we spent the tech credit card, we have some debt, and we're just going to catch up with that debt coming up really, in the next few weeks. But the fun stuff happens after this, right? So again, this is top down. So each of these has a theme, but if there are any specific items in any of the future releases that, someone's just really itching to contribute, we're happy to move those up and to earlier releases. So the first theme that we're working on is really improving the prediction services that UnionML offers. So right now it's just batch and then online. Online being some kind of endpoint that you hit, and it's assumed that you have some other system that hits that endpoint to get predictions. And batch is, pretty self-explanatory. You have like a table that you want to write to consistently over a schedule. Batch is the way to go. But this release will add support for streaming and scheduling batch predictions. 030 will focus on model tuning and experiment tracking. And so the current state of UnionML is you train a single model and you might call the model.train method multiple times. So just to show you what that looks like. Here's the basic tutorial for this. So there's a bunch of stuff you do, but you can call it model.train locally to train models locally, or you can call model.remote train if you want to use a flight cluster in the back. But it doesn't systematically support fine-tuning of your models and keeping track of the experiments and things like this. So this will focus on getting some basic building blocks for that up and running. 040 will focus on UnionML and Flyte interoperability. So as I said, under the hood, right, everything that UnionML does is around basically combining the different functions that you define into tasks and workflows. So for example, there's this train task method, and if you call it, it literally gives you back the flight task that UnionML has created. And same goes with the train workflow. So 040 will really just help people, part of it is documentation, part of it is also just things that we might have missed, where you can pull out the UnionML tasks, use them in your Flyte workflows for prediction as well, just to help our existing Flyte users use these abstractions. So you can imagine this combining well with the model tuning part. So once you have some kind of grid search or random search or Bayesian optimization thing, you can imagine that compiling down to a Flyte workflow. And then you can just plug that into your Flyte pipelines if you have some kind of model tuning step. And last but not least, 050 is called integrity. And it's to improve the observability, data quality, and Jupyter support of UnionML. Jupyter support here is kind of a little out of theme, but it is what it is. This is where things like Great Expectations, Pandera, ylogs, Revella come in. They won't be functions that you implement most likely, but they'll somehow we'll find integration points. And I guess to Zev and Mike, I'll dive into the roadmap here now. But if you guys want to contribute, we can definitely, I think the Revella, yeah, there's a task here for integrating with Revella. It's an empty ticket right now, but definitely would love to chat with you either here or just offline to figure out the details of what that might look like. Okay, any questions so far?
One of the folks that joined was asking about, what's the difference between Union and Flyte? How far do you want to take the project with still having sort of a Flyte backend for most things versus sort of bring your own backend for stuff?
Yeah, that's a pretty deep question.
Yeah,
in theory, I think so I guess I'll speak personally. I don't know about Union AI as a company, but personally speaking, I'm actually, it would be cool, but a very heavy lift to support other backends, right? Like the reason Flyte, I've drunk the Kool-Aid, but the reason why I think Flyte is very powerful is because of its type safety, reproducibility, isolation of nodes in the graph, execution graph, that most other pipeline orchestrators don't really have. They will often conflate the runtime environment for many benefits, right? You're like sharing memory, you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. So, I guess my short answer to that is it would be awesome to support other backends. And UnionML becomes then kind of like a syntax for expressing and writing down what your ML system's behavior should be at certain key points. I think for the foreseeable future, we will rely on a Flyte backend. But I think, to answer the question of Flyte, what difference between Flyte and UnionML, you can think of them as very much complementary. Like Flyte provides the primitives, the building blocks. Here are your nodes. This is how you connect them. This is how you provision resources for them, et cetera, et cetera. UnionML abstracts a lot of that away. However, it does expose it to super users. So if for Flyte users who are familiar with how everything works, at the Flyte level, the idea is you can access that abstraction level. But, we're thinking maybe for 80-90% of the use cases that UnionML works well with, you won't have to dig in there. But to reiterate the value proposition of UnionML, it really is bridging the gap between sort of like offline compute processes, which are usually like training, right? Like training is the biggest, and data processing. Those you really want like really robust production level infrastructure backing it. And then for prediction, online prediction, you want the same stuff, right? But Flyte really isn't built for that. Flyte's good for batch prediction today, but you can't really do, you know, low latency predictions with it very well. That might change in the future, but you know, it also is beneficial for UnionML to integrate with other such serving systems like Bento, SageMaker prediction endpoints, things like that, that have a lot of, you know, useful stuff just baked in.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the choice of using Flyte for sure. I'm just curious because, you know, you see stuff like Bento or AWS or Fast API coming in for the serving layer, right? So is there other alternatives for the batch layer, right? But I think that all jives well for sure.
Yep. Totally.
Cool.
Okay, we have 15 minutes left in this planning meeting. So, you know, moving forward, we're not gonna spend 15 minutes like introducing each other, but I want to just spend the rest of the time going through items in the roadmap. I've tagged a few of these as good first issues. Maybe in the chat, if you're interested in any one of these, you can just put, you know, raise your hand or like, you know, otherwise express interest in them, and then I can assign them to you. So if that sounds great, let me just go through these. So for 013, a bunch of these are kind of heavy lifts. The only one that is a kind of a good first issue is this one. So basically the idea is that there is this method called remote deploy, model.remote deploy, and what that does is literally it'll deploy your workflows to a Flyte backend. And currently, to version your UnionML app, we use the git SHA. So it assumes that all UnionML projects are in a version controlled under Git. And there's just one little problem with using that, which is that if your branch is dirty, like say you've deployed your app under some XYZ version, and then you change some code in that in your branch, the git SHA will still be XYZ, but your branch will be dirty. And so the purpose of this is just to error out if that is the case, and let the user know that they either should check in their changes or supply the ignore diff option just to force deploy. Okay, I do not. It's not a very glamorous issue, admittedly, but if anyone is interested in that, you can say so now. If not, it'll just default to, oh, Zev, I see your cat joined us.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach for the unmute button because that's the kind of good first issue I can hop in and do.
Oh yeah, okay, great.
Yeah,
Let me. I actually don't know how to do this right now.
Yeah, without me on here.
I should have looked this up, but
Let
me
come find it and comment on it. That's easy. I have the backlog open.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Niels, can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is Shigato. So recently I added a feature in the repository for UnionML. Any issue, if you want to assign that to yourself, just go into the issue and then type in #self-assign, and it'll assign it to you.
Like this?
Yes. And make a comment, and then it'll assign it to you. There's a GitHub action for that.
Oh, right. I remember. Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Zev, if you just do that, if you do the #self-assign, it'll do that for you, even if you don't have the permissions. Okay. Yeah, there are these other four. I don't know. I kind of hesitate. I'll probably just make a PR for all three of these since they're all somewhat related. The other three good first issues here in the next release, which is fine. We'll just make a release branch. Oh, awesome. Yeah, let me assign myself these. Are unit tests and examples for XGBoost and TensorFlow. So we currently have examples and unit tests for, I think, sklearn, PyTorch, and Keras. So, these two tasks would involve adding those unit tests, and also we need to figure this out, but examples of how to use them. So either tabs here in the quick start page. So if anyone's interested in that, yeah, let me know right now, or do the self-assign thing. Here's the where's my chat? Here's a roadmap if anyone's interested. Okay, another good first issue is adding a health check endpoint to the Fast API app. I actually haven't looked into this. I think Ketan put in a little example here. Eduardo, do you have context on what this is for? It's for like AWS Lambda?
I don't think it was specific to Lambda. No, it was just like usually, apps that you deploy in Kubernetes expose a health endpoint so that you can check beforehand.
I see.
I know the Kubernetes side of it for sure. Yeah, Eduardo's right. It's an app has a bunch. HTTP is one method, but for a health check endpoint, it's basically Kubernetes won't start routing traffic until the service self-reports that it's okay, like ready to receive traffic. It might have some like boot up stuff it needs to do before it's ready. Health check lets that happen. I looked at this one earlier today. The Fast API health library is sort of odd because you really want like services to report their own health, not other services' health. The Fast API health library here like reaches out to the database to see if it's okay before it'll say that it's okay. Whereas like you really want these to be independent of each other. Like the database should have its own health check or something in that example, right?
Yep.
Pretty straightforward for us. Like basically you just have to have a model and say like, yeah, we're ready to make inferences, which kind of happens when things instantiate anyway. So your health check can basically just be like return true. It's kind of more of a like one little route for it and then a bit of documentation, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. So is there like a general contract for this or just return true? Is that like usually?
On at least the Kubernetes side, which is again, all I sort of know, and it might be different for different platforms, but basically it just needs a 200 okay response, right?
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Any takers for this one? If not, that is totally fine. Okay, great. This is actually a pretty okay, it's not too crazy, but this task is to add integration tests for the remote underscore, train predict methods. So currently, I mean, it is kind of heavy. It probably would make sense more for someone who's familiar with Flyte, but the purpose of this is that you spin up a demo Flyte cluster locally, and then you invoke the remote train and predict methods against that Flyte cluster and just, actually test that everything works as expected.
Yeah, I'm gonna assign that one to myself, Niels.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Thanks.
Yeah, this also dovetails with the
Yep,
the PyTest flight thing.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And I guess this is related to, I don't know if you can probably tackle these in the same go, but this pulls out model tasks and workflows out of the UnionML objects and then uses them in a flight workflow. So let me just say.
Yeah, that could also be like a sort of integration test as well, right?
Yep. And use them. You want to tackle this one as well, or?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Please.
Great. Okay. So we have 5 minutes left. I kind of want to say I don't want to look too far into the future, so probably these 2 patch releases would be great to first tackle. I guess Zev, on the Revella side, I think we have a separate meeting scheduled for that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of our stuff comes into play here longer term once we have a bunch of these earlier releases out, right? Monitoring is this sort of later piece. So
Yep.
I'm happy to be here and hang out and think and, you know, keep guiding our product in a way that's going to work with Union eventually when we get there. But yeah, no huge rush from our side on that.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, so I think I kind of want to end this now. The last thing I'll say is to people watching the recording of this, we'll post up all the links, relevant links and stuff. So if you want to pick up any of these tasks, if you're interested in them, please do. And yeah, let's maybe end with any questions or feature requests, like ideas, basically. Let's spend the last 5 minutes just sort of talking about those. I do have a few, but yeah, I'd love to get other people's thoughts here. Cool. Okay, so in that case, the last thing I'll say is there's a tutorials tab in the documentation. It's pretty sparse right now, just as computer vision. It has like an MNIST example and a quick draw example. This is also another great avenue for contributing, which is basically like road testing UnionML with different applications. So I'll go ahead and make a few kind of placeholders for like NLP, tabular data, time series, any other categories. If there are any like data modalities or task types that anyone are interested in, is there anything that is on top of people's mind right now?
Hi, this is Eric. I have a quick question. I just noticed that you have a beta version. It's now the OSS version on GitHub. On your documentations on the top, you said you guys released a beta version. Is that a hosted version, or what's the difference between like is the open source version and the beta thing?
Oh yeah, we're using beta here kind of loosely. It's more to set the expectation that there will be probably many rough patches in the API, probably, you know, a couple of bugs that we didn't, or many bugs that we didn't account for. So this is different from like a beta release, like 0.10 beta something. This is more just just to express the fact that it's still early days for the package. But it's all open source.
Oh, great, thanks.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave this issue open here. I'll move it up to the top of the no milestones one. feel free to add comments here if you have any ideas for tutorials you want to make.
One that might be helpful for sort of open source contributors going forward is either if it's in a separate file, but in the README, just like setting up your dev environment to be hacking on UnionML.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
I'm familiar with Python. I can spin up a VM and work my way through a setup py. That's fine. But oh, you've got it here. Cool. Okay.
So yeah, the developer, the contributing guide, yeah, has a section on how to set up the dev environment. Yep. Okay, awesome.
Do you think it's worth, Niels, just a
Yeah.
small suggestion on this? I
Yep.
think it'd be worth also mentioning Conda in that section.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think we should. So I'll do that just real quick here. Yeah, there are probably many Conda users. Add Conda to. And yeah, shout out to Shigato for creating that. Wow, having a brain fart. Yes, to contributing guide. Anyone want to take this? This is a pretty quick one.
I can do that.
Awesome. Or Conda aficionado. Oh yeah, you can assign that to yourself. Okay. Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. Looking forward to future planning meetings. And as always, we're always available on our Slack ecosystem UnionML channel. Awesome. Thanks everyone.